Register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
Madam Speaker, what's your reaction to the president saying that he's now taking hydroxychloroquine? Are you concerned?
Well, first let me say how happy I am about your new baby. How lovely.
Oh, well,
Wyatt. Wyatt, how perfectly named. We all know why that is, and congratulations. And as you now are a father, you see how important it is to keep the world safe for the children, As far as the president is concerned, he's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved by the scientists, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So I think it's not a good idea.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen, and non-gender conforming individuals. I need you to relax. Everything is okay because Nancy Pelosi has called the president obese. I am neither impressed by this nor concerned by this. I think it's just yet another symbol of a declining empire when the most powerful woman in the nation, in the empire, who has the ability to actually lead the cause for change on behalf of working people, is this bad at politics. And it's not a concern. I can care less about what Republicans are going to say or the people that she's going to chase away with this, because, whatever, man. At this point, if you're going to be chased away from voting against Donald Trump because Nancy Pelosi is so pathetic at her job, that's one thing. But if you're going to be chased away because she said something mean about the president, then chances are you were always going to support Donald Trump. Right. I'm more concerned about the fact that this is what is impressive to half of the electorate. Like, this is what people are like, yes, slay queen. She did that. Do that, sis. No, like what she could do is actually fight for a universal basic income to last through the entirety of this pandemic. What she can do is fight to make sure that we have Medicare for all, so that people who not only get COVID-19 don't have to pay for it, but for people who are sick with cancer, leukemia, whatever they're sick with, heart disease, diabetes, all these comorbidities, the fact that African Americans have a disproportionate amount of comorbidities could be addressed by something like Medicare for all. Like that's the kind of action that she could take the lead on. But what the people are celebrating her for is because she called the president fat. Yesterday, I did quite the extensive ruminations around Republicans. This may have been in the Patrons episode, I'm not sure, but I did it with regard to Republicans who are so fixated with Republican propaganda that they crave that this propaganda is continuously fed to them, right? I've got to flip it and say it's almost the same damn thing with Democrats. Right? Instead of actual tangible policies that we need, they're like, yes, call him fat. Call him like Joe Biden, President McTweety, or whatever he tweeted out this morning. I mean, we are satisfied with the symbols, with symbolism, with cornball. I mean, just really piss poor attempts at being edgy like Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump is the king of being edgy because he has no regard for anyone, for anything other than his ego. If you want to own the internet like Donald Trump, you kind of have to be willing to sacrifice everything and just be a megalomaniac, right? I don't think that is a goal. Number one. Number two, when cornballs try to be edgy, it doesn't go well. Okay, so, this whole thing of trying to insult Donald Trump back into place was never going to work. Look at what happened to Marco Rubio. You guys should have learned your lesson back when Marco Rubio tried to go head to head with Donald Trump and looked like a complete effing moron. So I don't care. I'm not offended by her. I'm overweight. I don't give a shit about her calling him obese. I'm upset with the fact that this is what is looked upon by Democratic voters as, wow, she did that. No, If you want me to say, wow, she did that, then let her do something like a universal basic income so that essential workers can go home and stop putting their lives on the line on behalf of the elite. Okay? If she does that, then I'll be like, yes, queen. Clapping my hands like she did. Yes, queen, you did that. But for right now, you didn't do anything but throw a little insult at him. That's not going to stick. These people Republicans are so twisted. They look at his morbidly obese ass and see someone who looks like Vin Diesel. Okay? So pointing out the fact that Donald Trump is fat is as useless as pointing out the fact that he's an effing moron. To Republicans, they see they see a very stable, they see whatever he tells them to see. So I'm not concerned about the insult. I'm not concerned. I mean, I know it's going to be offensive to some people, and I get that. I'm not telling you not to be offended. I'm just saying for me, I'm like, whatever. The real problem for me here is the fact that we are so excited over performance. It's all performative and not delivering anything actual, tangible, or material on behalf of the people who need it the most. Do that, and then I'll say, slay queen. Get us $2,000 a month. Get the essential workers. Help the essential workers to go indoors and shelter in place as comfortably as the elite are. And then maybe I'll start clapping and saying, yes, queen, slay Nancy Pelosi. Until then, you're useless. Until then, she and Chuck Schumer and the Democratic Party are completely useless because they're not putting up a meaningful opposition against a man who is trying to destroy this country. Insulting his weight is not opposition. And what we need now more than ever before is an opposition party to block all of the damaging things that the president is doing. And where you can't block him through legislation, you put up a political fight like you've never seen before to block him in the court of public opinion. But you're not even doing that. You're just insulting him with poorly written insults. I mean, I played the first portion of that clip so that you could see how bad she is at this. She can't even give a compliment to him, to Anderson Cooper, without sounding awkward. You know what I mean? You ever met somebody who's just so awkward they can't even give a normal conversation? And listen, I don't care about parties. I'm sorry. If you come to this show looking for me to jump on board on somebody's party, parties are not safe. Parties are standing by watching people die in this pandemic. Political parties, both political parties. One is an all-out death cult. The other one is sitting by acting like it can't do anything to stop the death cult. So I don't give a damn about your political parties at this point. So don't come here looking for me to be Team Blue. Because Team Blue has failed us just like Team Red is actively failing us. And if this is the best, if this is all you want from the opposition party, then you are just as much a problem as the Republican voting base is for America.
A lot of good things have come out about the hydroxy. A lot of good things have come out. And you'd be surprised at how many people are taking it, especially the frontline workers, before you catch it. The frontline workers, many are taking it. I happen to be taking it.
Hydroxychloroquine?
I'm taking it, hydroxychloroquine.
When?
Right now, yeah. A couple of weeks ago, I started taking it.
Lying ass.
Because I think it's good. I've heard a lot of good stories. And if it's not good, I'll tell you right. I'm not going to get hurt by it.
What?
It's been around for 40 years for malaria, for lupus, for other things. I take it. Frontline workers take it. A lot of doctors take it. Excuse me. A lot of doctors take it. I take it. Yeah, I hope to not be able to take it soon because, I hope they come up with some answer.
This man is dangerous. Of course he's lying. Of course he's not taking hydroxychloroquine, right? I mean, first of all, if people just start taking it, we've already seen prescription companies and pharmacies start to ration it, and it's preventing people with actual lupus from getting the medicine that they need. And we don't have enough sufficient evidence to suggest that this has any meaningful impact on COVID-19. There are people who have been experimenting on, right? Some doctors are experimenting with hydroxychloroquine, but there was one case that they had to stop giving it to the patients because it had more adverse effects than it did good effects. This is why we need a meaningful opposition party who can tackle this man head on and meet them where he is. And don't tell me that he's a unique character and that the Democrats weren't going to be able to they weren't prepared for him. I don't care if they were not prepared for him. They've had time. Listen, they're going along with too much of what he does. They're signing off on too many of his judges. They are not an opposition party in any form or fashion. And we need some meaningful, principled, cutthroat opposition against this man. He's going to get even more people killed. He's going to get healthy people killed now. He's going to, granted, it's probably only going to be his supporters, but they're human beings, so a part of me, my heart goes out to their stupidity a little bit, right? At the end of the day, if you're dumb enough to follow this president, think about this sentence that I have to say. At the end of the day, if you're dumb enough to follow President Donald Trump, then you're dumb. You deserve whatever you get, okay? The fact that I have to put that sentence together shows you where we are in this American democratic experiment. We are in the declining stages of this empire, and part of the decline is the fact that the Democratic Party is not able to fight back against this man. And in fact, they have neutralized, the Democratic Party has neutralized the part of the party that could have handled him. It was the progressive movement. It was not because we were just better at memeing and better at Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Most of that is secondary. It's because we actually presented policies that made this man look as incompetent as he really is. And the Democratic Party did everything they could to stop that movement. So now what are you going to do? Now you have nobody out there but Sleepy Joe. Sorry, I hate to use that name, but that's what he's out there calling President Trump President Tweety. I'm serious. It was in a tweet on his timeline. You got Nancy Pelosi, who's out there who can't even give a decent compliment. You got Chuck Schumer, I don't know. Chuck Schumer just should have retired years ago, his disingenuous ass. So you have the three stooges representing the Democratic Party at a time where we need the most fierce opposition that we could ever have in this country. We should be blocking Donald Trump the way Republicans blocked Barack Obama times 10. And yet the Democrats capitulate on a regular basis. And the reason I put so much in, because how else? What else is supposed to be done? How else are we supposed to stop him if we don't stop him through the institutions that we have erected in this country? Right? That's the reason when you look at the problem in this country and you think that something needs to be done, the only way you could work through these institutions, the only way you work through the system is if the party if there's an opposition party. That's it. Now, if you're telling me that forget about looking at them to be an opposition party and take it and do it ourselves, well, then don't think for a second that the Democratic Party is going to survive that transition either. You understand? So if you want to preserve the Democratic Party, then you better be bringing criticism to them and wake them the hell up and show them that they need to be doing the job of stopping Donald Trump in his tracks. Period. Otherwise, if we have to take to the streets to rectify this situation, don't think for a second that the Democratic Party will survive that either. And they know this, and they understand the game. So I'm not talking to the people in power because the people in power know the game. This is why they're not putting up any meaningful opposition against Donald Trump in the first place. They never intended to. But for the people who otherwise should know better, but they don't because they've been so enamored and so propagandized rather by the media. And they're just like, they're so propagandized by this whole, this woke, resistance culture of yes, slay queen, like anything a person does to insult. There's like a video going around. I guess it's like maybe 3 weeks. So I don't know. It's everything. There's some time dilation going on with this pandemic. Like I can't tell you the time from anything else. But the video that's going around where they're doing a parody of "In the Jungle, a Mighty Jungle," and they flipped it as saying "In the Jungle, Mighty Jungle, the President tweets tonight," and they use that. And the thing is, it's like cool if you want to do that with your time, fine. But all the people in the comments and sharing it, it's going viral. Like, oh my God, this is so amazing. this is outstanding work. You guys should have a YouTube channel. And I'm like, you morons. You are completely and utterly incapable of taking on Donald Trump. And that's a shame because we really do need an opposition party.
Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.
Let's go. At this point in every single episode, I like to take a minute to thank all of our newest patrons. No matter how many patrons we get, we always want to thank them. So, a very special welcome and thank you to Jeremy Terrell. Thank you for becoming a patron. And to Kay, thank you for becoming a patron. Everybody, pop your head. There's always a reason for a patron party, whether it's 2 or 22. I just want to be grateful for what you all do for this show. That's it. All right, here's my part. You too can become a part of this prestigious and prodigious patron family by going to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show, where you get twice the content, uncut, unedited, unfiltered interviews, and none of the advertisements like you're going to get right about here. Yep.
Welcome back to The Benjamin Dixon Show. Visit us online at www.thebenjamindixonshow.com.
Here we go. Welcome back. All right, I want to shift gears to talk about Ahmaud Arbery. There is a video that Republicans and conservatives are passing around in a desperate attempt to impugn the character of Ahmaud Arbery. And it is being promoted by people like John Miller, who you won't recognize his name because he is a Z-lister. He is at the bottom of the pool of step and fetch it ass niggas who will do a dance on behalf of white supremacy. In other words, he's the poorly paid version of Candace Owens. It's bad when you sell out your soul and you can't even make decent money and get decent notoriety. At least Candace Owens sold out her soul for a couple of $1 million. You would think with all that money she would do something with those edges, but I digress. John Miller is the poor man's version of Candace Owens, and it's a shame when you try to step and fetch, shuck and drive, and you can't even. But anyway, that's his role. You don't know who he is, but he's out here pushing this video as hard as he can. And this is what he said on Twitter. He said, "It's important to note how civil and how patient the officer, Michael Canago, was while Arbery hurled profanities at him in a bout of rage. After a clearly irate, I'm stupid, Arbery approached the cop physically is when Canago had to call for backup." Now, context, the video is from 2017, has absolutely nothing to do with what happened to Arbery back 2 months ago. The fact that he was lynched by 3 white men who hunted him down. Nothing to do. All they're trying to do is assassinate his character at this point because that is the playbook of white supremacy every single time. The only difference between now and when they did it with Trayvon Martin is that you got some more high profile step and fetching ass niggas doing it on behalf of the white people. Okay, that's the only difference. But every step of the way, every time this comes around, you have the entire group of people who try to vilify the victim. This was in 2017. Now, I don't even want to talk about, but I will, the context of the video where Arbery was chilling in the park, minding his business. And a police officer came and harassed him because he said that there was drug activity in this neighborhood, in this area. So this is the best that they have. And now, even one step further, the fact that this video has been released at this juncture tells you that someone inside the system is doing everything they can to protect the system itself. No surprise, right? This video, you think this video just appeared out of nowhere? You think this was already online? No. This video was found and somebody went looking for this video and put it out so that they could try to destroy the character on behalf of the 3 men who killed this young man, this brother. And I'm not surprised that you have some black people pushing this. I'm sure if I go to Candace Owens' timeline, she's pushing this too, because above all else, their number one job description, in order for them to get their check, both big and small, they must protect white supremacy against accusations, against grievances. It doesn't matter if you have the tape, which we do. People like Candace Owens and what's his guy name? I don't even know his name I got to scroll back up. John Miller. I mean, anyway, there's so many things I can say about this cat. But there is always going to be a lineup of people who will do the bidding of white supremacy, black people who would do the bidding of white supremacy because it pays their bills. I mean, I'm sure there's some self-hatred in there as well, but the easiest thing to explain it really is the money. Because if you have zero talent to be able to stand above the crowd as a liberal or as a person fighting on behalf of liberation and justice, if you're not talented enough to actually stand out as a person who's fighting on behalf of justice, then just switch sides and do what Candace Owens does on a regular basis and fight on behalf of white supremacy. But maybe, if you're going to do that, though, at least make as much money as Candace Owens, not this generic ass John Miller. All right, take a listen to this clip from 12 News out of Beaumont, Texas. No insult to the people of Beaumont, Texas, but this is some of the, you couldn't write a skit to demonstrate exactly how ignorant Americans are better than this. Take a listen in.
After several weeks of being stuck inside, thousands have flocked here to Bolivar Peninsula to make the most of their time while out.
Been in quarantine and I need to get out and party. Woo!
Go Topless Jeep Weekend.
What's better than beach and a few drinks and Jeeps? Man, it can't be better than that.
This event comes at a time where beaches across the state are reopening following the coronavirus pandemic. And beachgoers like Chelsea Collier are still taking precautions to stay safe.
Wash them hands for 20 seconds and keep them clean with their Germ-X. Totally.
As for the enforcement of social distancing, they say it's challenging to enforce.
I mean, you can't. It's not
Jesus
possible
Christ.
to do that on this beach with the amount of people that we have here. It's just, we can't do that.
You cannot make this up. It's a weekend. It's the beach is open. Wash your hands. Make sure you use Germ-X, even though we're all on top of each other at the beach. This is so American. There's literally, whatever happens at this point happens. At the beginning of this pandemic, I was really, really depressed. I really was, because I'm like, man, why? I'm like, if there's any way possible that this could pass us up, can we not let this happen? Can it not go down like this? And I was even praying. I'm like, God, please help us. Please stop this from happening. And the sad thing, here's the sad thing about it, before I even finish that joke. The sad thing about it is that the people who are dying aren't the people who are out here being stupid. The people who are dying are the essential workers. The people who are dying are the people who are putting their lives on the line to keep this system working, to keep the trains running, to keep the buses running, to keep the store shelves stocked. Those are the people that are dying. While these are the people we just listened to, that are spreading it, right? They're spreading it, and they're not dying from it. The poor people, the marginalized communities, black people are dying. One guess what color that girl was. So, it kind of shifted real quick in tone. I was going to make a joke about, whatever happens, happens. God ain't going to protect these people. Fact of the matter is that some of them are going to be just fine. The people who are spreading it are just fine. It's the people in marginalized communities, people who did not have access to health care all their life, and they are carrying around multiple comorbidities. Those are the people that are dying from this. So yeah, it started off funny, but that shit's not funny at all. Yeah. Every year on this day, I take a minute to honor a man who's worthy of honor, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. Today is his birthday, May 19th. It would have been his 95th birthday had he not been gunned down at a very early age, at the age of 40. Lord, I'm turning 40 this year. Every year I like to take a minute to honor this man because of what he represented, what he represented and what he stood for. And I want you to take a listen to some words. I've never heard this particular speech until today. Shout out to my dude Tyson for finding this and sharing it. But I want you to take a listen.
I'm telling you, you don't know what a revolution is. Because when you find out what it is, you'll get back in the alley. You'll get out of the way. Just a moment. The Russian Revolution. What was it based on? Land. The landless against the landlord. How did they bring it about? Bloodshed. You haven't got a revolution that doesn't involve bloodshed. And you're afraid to bleed. I said you're afraid to bleed. Long as the white man sent you to Korea, you bled. He sent you to Germany, you bled. He sent you to the South Pacific to fight the Japanese, you bled. You bleed for white people. But when it comes time to seeing your own churches being bombed and little black girls murdered, you haven't got no blood. You bleed when the white man says bleed. You bite when the white man says bite. And you bark when the white man says bark. I hate to say this about us, but it's true. How you gonna be nonviolent in Mississippi as violent as you were in Korea? How can you justify being nonviolent in Mississippi and Alabama when your churches are being bombed and your little girls are being murdered, and at the same time you're gonna get violent with Hitler and Tojo and somebody else that you don't even know? If violence is wrong in America, violence is wrong abroad. If it's wrong to be violent, defending black women and black children and black babies and black men, then it's wrong for America to draft us and make us violent abroad in defense of her.
This was probably one of the most revolutionary speeches of Malcolm X. He had many, but this is definitely one of the most revolutionary because he makes it clear. He makes it clear if America is violent for its own political ends, and we are the ones carrying out the violence. That's the kicker. America uses poor people and black people and brown people to carry out the violence on behalf of its political and economic goals abroad, only to bring us home here and utterly neuter us and force us to they then use the violence here to suppress any type of revolution from us, even a political revolution, even us working through this system. America used everything at its disposal. For generations, people have tried to work through this system. America has used violence to suppress it. America has used propaganda to suppress it. America has used the full force of the federal government to stop us from getting what we deserve in this lifetime. But yet they'll throw a uniform on our backs and put guns on our shoulders and send us out to kill someone else. Every so many years, there's a war. Every so many years, they're going to send us out there, mostly poor people, mostly black and brown people, on behalf of this country, on behalf of the economic ends and goals of the ruling elite of this country. Malcolm had it right. He had it right. This country, all this country knows is violence. All it knows how, in terms of getting what it wants, is violence. But in terms of controlling us, its own people, it's violence. You don't think this, you can't separate the police state that's happening in New York City from what America does abroad. And you can't separate and look at what it does abroad and not expect it to happen here in our cities. And that's exactly what's happening. And the people doing the bidding of the ruling elite are always poor people, always black people, brown people. Malcolm had it right a long time ago. A long time ago. We've been fighting these fights for a long time. And damn it, something's got to change.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show. If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Here we go, patrons.